The last time that we saw our next guest, he was actually dressed in a frill-neck lizard costume on The Masked Singer. Now Eddie Perfect is getting ready to return to the stage, this time as himself. He joins us now. Eddie, I've got to ask this, how confident are you about doing a show in a pandemic?
Well, I mean, I spent the last, 6 months in Melbourne being locked down with the rest of the Melburnians, and we heard the phrase, an abundance of caution, about 1 billion times. So I am optimistic. We're performing outdoors at the Malthouse outdoor stage, so that's a plus. And, you know, like I feel like we've got a pretty cautious state government, so for live performance to be going ahead in this way, seated at tables outdoors in a great outdoor venue, I'm pretty confident, and I'm very much looking forward to getting on stage again without a big lizard head.
Well, there isn't much that you can't do on stage. What is this show going to be all about?
Well, I mean, I fled from New York at the start of the pandemic, just after Broadway shut on the 12th of March, and we were planning to come back to Australia anyway. We decided, my wife and I, that we wanted to put our kids through school in Australia. So, yeah, we got back to Melbourne just in time for the second wave and the second lockdown. So, like everybody's lives in Melbourne, my world was very small. It was about the intimate day-to-day things, and a lot of that was frustrating, but a lot of it was really beautiful. And when I talked to other Melburnians and other Australians who have been through the same thing, you know, your world becomes about the tiny little things in your life. And I love the focus on that. And I kind of hope that when we open up again, and as we are opening up again, that we don't lose those connections and that sense of, I mean, the picnics and you know, the spending time in the garden and the spending time with kids was really special. It was the silver lining, the whole thing. So I wanted to write a show that was intimate, that was about everything that was small and domestic and minute in life, and then also talk about the experience of the last 2 years, which was the opposite of that, living in New York City, writing Broadway shows, the pressure and the insanity of the people I met and the experiences I had.
Well, you did have incredible success in New York, but was it hard to leave it behind, and even harder now as you look back and see just how badly things are going in New York at the moment?
Yeah, look, it's easy to leave when you think that, you know, you don't suffer any FOMO. Broadway's shut, it will remain shut. It's never been shut this long, and it's not really known when it'll come back. There's a lot about the energy of New York that is not there, that will return. But I'm quite excited to be back in Australia, and one of the good things about being back in Australia is that I don't have to live above my insane neighbour. I lived in an apartment above an old lady who was so cranky about the noise we made, she used to hit the roof with a broomstick, and one time she came up and we didn't answer the door, and she just walked into our apartment and yelled at my kids. And when I went to, when I went to rehearsal the next day, I was like telling everyone at rehearsal, I'm like, and my neighbour just like walked in and yelled at my kids, is that normal? And one of them said, you know, in America, you could shoot her and you would not go to jail. I'm like, well, I'm obviously going to shoot an old woman.
So you're glad to be back, is what you're saying.
Thank God. Yes, very pleased to be back, very grateful.
Well, you're not just such a great musician, you're also dabbling in watercolours, and you've done some extraordinary work, but you're being a bit tough on yourself. I mean, look at the budgies there, they're fantastic. Love a budgie. But you did a self-portrait that you're a little more critical on. I reckon that's an Archibald Prize-winning portrait. It's great.
Well, yeah, there's something confronting about trying to look... I love the proliferation of hobbies and interests that people kind of took up under the lockdown, and I've always loved to paint. It's not something I want to make a living out of. I just love to do it, and it's just a new way of seeing.
Eddie, we're running out of time, but before we go, I have to ask, in Tassie, the rehearsals have kicked off for Shane Warne, the musical.
Yes.
Are you surprised at the longevity of this show?
Shane Warne rides again. Yes, I'm so glad. We licensed the show to Amateur Productions, and it's had a few productions now, Adelaide, Cairns, and now in Tassie, and it's so exciting to have the story live on. It's a fantastic story.
Well, you can catch Eddie Perfect's Introspective on the Malthouse outdoor stage from February 16. Details are on our website. Eddie, thanks for the chat. Great to see you.
Lovely to see you guys. Thank you.
Hey there, it's about time you finished that video. I contractually had to wait so I could tell you to subscribe. Subscribe. I'm waiting. Now I can go home. Woo!